We're here at Mobile World Congress 2019 in Barcelona. I'm here on a connected ambulance demo in the Ericsson Pavilion. I'm joined by Maria Quawes of BT. Thank you for joining us. Dr. Mahmoudi, thank you very much, from King's College of London, and Brian Corrigan from Ericsson. Brian, great to see you.
Thank you.
So to kick us off, Brian, maybe just walk us through the demo and give us some of the highlights that we're seeing here with this connected ambulance.
Yep. So we're showing real-time interaction in 5G. So in this use case, we have ambulance en route to a hospital. We have the highway. The ambulance is able to make a connection to the hospital ahead of time, start diagnosis with a doctor. In this use case, the doctor adds a data channel, 5G, over the voltage session.
Right.
We add the ultrasound application as well as a haptic feedback. So the doctor is able to not only start diagnosis, but to guide the paramedic in performing the ultrasound test.
Right, so they're doing the scan in the ambulance to figure out if there's a problem, a blood clot or too much blood flow. It's going back to a specialist who's able to do the analysis, see it on the screen, and then give that feedback over the network back to the ambulance in real time, low latency, lots of data. A couple of questions on that in a minute.
Yep.
Maria, I'm really keen to get your thoughts on the value proposition that this adds as far as BT is concerned. I mean, there are a lot of obvious things here with regard to the application to health in general, but beyond health, what are some of the value propositions from BT's point of view that this demonstration has provided?
Sure. So from BT's perspective, we've been working with Ericsson and King's College for quite some time on 5G use cases. How can we leverage the high speed and capacity as well as the low latency? In this particular case, we wanted to add an additional factor, which is the use of our IP multimedia subsystem technology, which underpins our host LTE networks today. So bringing those two together, we can get real-time sessions established between any two endpoints dynamically, and we can actually ensure we deliver the right quality of service in mobile use cases, and in this particular case with high bandwidth and low latency. So for the connected ambulance example, as Brian just explained, all of that happens for this particular use case. Other use cases that we're looking at are anything to do with field operations, where it's going to be a mobile team, okay, of people scattered around the country, potentially having to be dynamically connected either between themselves or with remote operations in the control center. And from that point onwards, they could be doing any application. They could be doing AR, VR applications. They could do tele operations,
right.
and you name it, pretty much. It could all be underpinned by this same technology.
Sounds exciting. Doctor, this particular use case, what drew King's College of London to it?
So we've chosen ultrasound for this particular use case, and ultrasound is one of the most common early diagnoses that are used in the ambulances. It's a cheap device, it's easy accessible, it exists in every single ambulance. At the same time, ultrasound image cannot be post-processed. So ultrasound image needs to be processed real time by a doctor, and then the ultrasound sensor be guided accordingly. So it introduced the challenge of real-time communication with the real-time access to the ultrasound sensor, at the same time communicating all the heavy image of the ultrasound back to the hospital. So it's a very relevant use case because the ultrasound device in every single ambulance is a very challenging use case because of the real-time interaction, and it's an interesting case because it's a non-invasive diagnostic, so it doesn't require engaging with many medical legislation in order to get this approved, for example, and for ambulance sector to be able to
What's the feedback been like from the industry as a whole? I mean, the health industry is looking at a whole range of the space with what's happening in 5G, what's happening with some of the IoT research and work's been done, and certainly the application of machine learning to the data coming out of these spaces. What kind of feedback have you had from the industry as a whole now that they've seen this example of the connected ambulance put together and demonstrated?
So we have a lot of, at King's College we have one of the largest medical centers. We have a lot of interaction with our medical colleagues. We have 4 hospitals in the college, so, and they are part of 2 different NHS trusts. So we have a lot of interaction with these medical guys, and what we understood is particularly bringing an AI and machine learning to ultrasound is interesting for them because there is a lot of discrepancy in how paramedics apply ultrasound, ultrasound images. One clear example in the UK, for example, is that there is a large number of errors in detecting prenatal disease when pregnant women go under ultrasound diagnosis, for example. And this has been a big motivation for the medical sector to enable
Fantastic. Well, what I love about what you're saying there is that when we apply machine learning to the type of data we're getting here, you can take domain knowledge, you can build an algorithm and a model around it and apply that at scale, and you can do it across logarithmic data. You can look at historical data and see what's happened in the trend over the years, different impact of humans around the planet, different cultural backgrounds, regional backgrounds, and so forth. Maria, there must be some exciting responses to this from the industry as a whole, as far as what BT is doing. I mean, give us some insights into kind of some of the conversations you're having with people saying, well, the connected ambulance demo is really exciting and fantastic, and I hope I'm in one when I have an accident ever. What are some of the conversations you're having at the moment with the rest of the industry that's not necessarily just in health? I'm sure there's a really big positive response to what this now opens up as far as the conversation goes.
Sure. No, I'm sure we are not alone in this. Every operator around the world is actually proactively talking to their customers or potential customers about the opportunities of the future. In particular, in the UK, there are a number of trials actually being run by a consortia of players, because obviously these solutions require an ecosystem. It's not just the operator, or it's not just the telecoms equipment vendor. It's actually the ecosystem of partners that needs to come together. And of course, understanding the needs of the customers, which is absolutely key for us to deliver great service to them. So there is a lot going on. As I said, in the UK, a number of public trials whereby we are working with different industries, whether it's industrial automation, whether it's tourism, whether it's health sector, where we are again, together exploring the art of the possible, the requirements from the customers, and how can we deliver these services in the future.
Fantastic. Well, I know BT's got a big presence in Australia. Australia is a very vast nation. I think we're like the 6th largest piece of dirt on the planet. We only have 25 million people. So we have like the flying doctor service where airplanes travel around the nation, pick up people that are ill and whatnot. So we've been on the bleeding edge of, if you'll pardon the pun, bringing people in and out of those environments, but now taking that technology and so forth out into the field. So I can't wait to see this deployed in Australia and the rest of Southeast Asia and so forth, where we already have these challenges that are more diversely spread out and so forth. And I look forward to seeing what BT is going to bring to the party with this, because you're obviously ahead of the curve with what you're doing with 5G, IoT, and particularly this low latency connectivity. Brian, just to wrap up, what's the response been like on the floor? I mean, you've got this great toy to play with, you've got some humans to mess around with here and poke and shoulder. Give us some insights just briefly and kind of the response you've had so far. You mentioned before you've had some pretty interesting dignitaries come through.
Yep.
What have people been saying and what's the reaction been like?
I think it's been really interesting to have a lot of government leaders, lots of regulatory leaders, really come and see what we can do with 5G. It's tangible, it's real, everyone connects to this use case because it's something they can see themselves in, and then, heaven forbid, but it's great to see how 5G and communication really can evolve going forward. So it's been exciting, we've been very busy, but that's a good thing.
Well, congratulations on an amazing demonstration. Thank you so much all for making time to catch up with me. Maria, Dr. Brian, congratulations. Great event. I know MWC 2019 is probably the single most exciting event I've been to for a long time. This has been one of the best demos. Appreciate your time and look forward to seeing what you do in the next 12 to 18 months with it all. Cheers.
Thank you.